thank you also for inviting me here. And I'm very pleased to be here and to see the very interesting things that are happening in this university, and also your extremely beautiful campus. So thank you. So I'm talking about transdisciplinarity in connection with innovation. So I've got a little argument here. So the story that I'm telling is that transdisciplinarity stimulates innovation, and innovation drives economic growth and improves living conditions, but also that innovation requires creativity as well as problem solving. So, for example, I began my career as a software engineer, and so as a software engineer I learned methods which basically I would say were problem solving methods. So when I worked, I relied on deep knowledge in one disciplinary area, which was to do with computer science and software engineering. But I really have never been trained or learned much about creativity. So of course most of us have some creativity if we're problem solvers, but that most of my work was reliant on that knowledge base. So what I'm saying is we still need that knowledge base. You need a knowledge base for creativity, but it's also good if we look at some other methods where we can encourage creativity. So when we think about creativity, there's an idea that creativity is just connecting things. So that's Steve Jobs. Now this is a different view from a view that the creative people are tremendously original and get their ideas just like magic, and they come up because they've thought them up all by themselves. So this view is that at any point in time in the world, technology and previous thought will have advanced to such a stage that anybody who is has disciplinary knowledge and is reasonably creative can put those ideas together and come up with something new. And this has happened several times, and this is why we have often inventions that have happened at several times and people argue over them. And some of them, the things that were to do with Apple, in fact, were argued about because there were several sources of these. Some of them came from Palo Alto, the laboratories, and some came from some other places. But these clever individuals like Jobs were able to put these together in different ways. So what's creative problem solving means a combination of existing ideas. So it's good if you've got teams. So the individuals, unlike what Detmar was saying, you don't need the particular individuals to have huge knowledge in each area, but you need teams with people with different knowledge. So you get more creative individuals, you get more connections between ideas. More connections between ideas means more creativity and innovation. So what are creative individuals like? So I've said that they need to have problem-solving knowledge, but also they need to be able to put ideas together. And what's very interesting is when you look at the brains of people who are thought to be very creative, who test up highly on tests of being creative, you actually find that they've in their heads got what's called more white matter. So we have a saying in English that one of our famous detectives says this. He says, "I solve problems because of all my little grey cells." So the grey cells are the ones that hold the knowledge. But as well, the people who are very creative have more white matter. So what makes them creative is that they are able to connect ideas in their own head. So are we born like this? What do you think? Do you think some people are just born like this? Well, according to this research, you can actually grow white matter. So there's more studies that show if you expose people to ways of creative thinking, that their white matter grows more. This is what we can do with transdisciplinarity. So we can increase people to different ideas, and we can actually teach them methods of being creative. So those people who are here who work in the arts faculty, if you're in industrial design, you have probably been exposed to some of those creative problem-solving methods. If you work in the engineering faculty or in software engineering, you don't get exposed. It's another good argument for putting people together from different disciplines. There's one example here. This is the design factory in the Aalto School in Finland. It's a very interesting building. And so there they're putting people together from different disciplines, students, researchers and industry. And the building itself that they work in, this is another way of encouraging creativity, is the building itself has been designed with spaces that allow people to come together and talk to each other in very informal ways. So one thing that's interesting, there's even when you're walking around, there's a post, like this, a post, and it's got a label on it saying, a hugging post. And I think when you come to this post, if someone else is there, you're supposed to give them a hug. And this would not work in an Australian society. Possibly it wouldn't work in a Chinese society, but it's a good idea. Okay, so in this factory they're doing, they've got creative methods, they've got people from different disciplines, and it's called open-ended problem solving. They don't just start out with one idea and set out with their own disciplinary way of solving it. They like to come at it from different methods. So that's one thing. There's other places like this in the world. So I think it's good to look at these places, again, different ideas and adapt them. And just to finish up, what next? The animal on the left has been developed in Australia to suit Australian conditions. The one on the right has been developed by copying some ideas from the kangaroo. The kangaroo has particularly clever ways of moving, of capturing motion in its legs. So I suppose the message at the end is what can Taiwan do? It's already doing innovative things, but can there be some more ideas from other places on transdisciplinarity? Thank you.